Let's go shopping for Fender Tone Master electric amplifiers. You're on the Fender website right here, and I'm surfing around. You got all these killer amps from Fender. And if you don't know what a Tone Master is, I'm going to tell you it's this digital recreation of the best Fender tube amps of old. And I'm going to surf there and over here at Sweetwater, and we're going to look at some prices and look at the specs and the options. And see what we think. If you're in the market for one, we're going to look at all of them. Now, one thing we're going to not cover today is the Tone Master Pro. If you don't know what that is, it's also called Tone Master, but it's not an amplifier. It's a multi-effects guitar workstation right there. And it uses all those simulations and powers out to external monitors through all these cables and all this stuff. So you can get these cabinets, which are technically called Tone Master, but that's not an amplifier. That's just a cabinet with a speaker in it ready to use the digital foot pedal right here that you can get in a bundle from Sweetwater. So I'm not going to cover that today. What we're going to focus on instead are the amplifiers, like I was just looking at a second ago right here, such as the Twin, the Deluxe, and all that kind of stuff. I'm Steve. Hope you're doing amazing. Hit like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and let's get into it. So again, the Tone Master amplifiers are these recreations of some of the classic Fender amps of all time. So for example, if I am surfing around here and I come to the Tone Master Twin Reverb, I believe this is the first one they came out with, maybe this and the Deluxe about 4 or 5 years ago. And really what it is this amp that looks exactly like a 50s Fender Twin Reverb, except it's all digital. There's no tubes. But what they did is they took all the power, the processing power that normally they focus it in on one amplifier. They're basically saying, let's just make this thing killer for the Twin Reverb and not try to also do a Deluxe and a Super Reverb and a Princeton and a Bassman and some metal amp and something that pretends to be a Marshall. So they really just said, let's just make one recreation, and all of it goes into just making that one thing really amazing. And so what you end up with is an amp that basically, except for that little logo in the bottom right hand corner, it looks and feels exactly like a Twin Reverb, except it's a fraction of the weight because you don't have all the tubes and the magnets from the different types of speakers and all that. And you've got some extra stuff on the back. That's the big deal here. So you've got, on all of them, you got an attenuator, which lets you, we'll talk about that more in a minute, for power, and some extra line out options for cabinet simulations and stuff like that. So that is the Fender Twin right there. So let's look at all of them. I'm going to go back to Sweetwater, and there's only about 5 or 6 of these things, I believe, if I'm right. Let me go, I'm going to do the brand as Fender. So that got rid of a bunch of junk here. I'm on Sweetwater's website. Great for surfing and looking at pictures and sorting. And let me do, I'm going to do a price range here because I want to weed out that dumb little mini Tone Master. I'm sorry, I'm not talking about the little mini Tone Master amp. We're not here to talk about toys. For $50, somebody could say it's not a toy. I guess it's got 20 good ratings there, but I think that's sort of ridiculous. So let me do 700 to 1500, and I hit enter. And again, we're not going to talk about the Tone Master right there. In fact, let me make sure I'm not cutting anything out here. Let me do 600 to $2,001 just to make sure. Okay, so you have the Tone Master Deluxe, the Deluxe Reverb right there. I'll hop into all these in a second. And then you have the Twin, and over here, brand new one is the Bassman, 59 Bassman, or Bassman. And then you have the Twin and the Deluxe in blonde. I believe they have different speakers inside, if I'm correct, but they're basically the same things as these up here. There's the Twin and Deluxe right there. Prices are slightly different, $50 higher for those. You've got the Princeton Reverb. This is the smallest and least expensive of them, $950. I am planning on getting one of those in the next month, so I'm going to spend some time on that. There's that Tone Master Pro, which I'm going to skip. The multi-effects. And then you have the super reverb right there for $13.49. And that's it. See, by me using the pricing, I weeded out all the extra low price stuff that isn't really an amplifier. And I did include the modeling on accident, sort of. So let's hop into each of them real quickly. I'll go in order of when I think, if I'm correct, that they were revealed or launched. So this is, hey, I'll do a Duesenberg giveaway. Sure. Actually, I already entered it. Okay, so here's the ToneMaster Twin Reverb, and here's what you got here. 2 inputs, a bright, volume, treble, middle, bass, vibrato. This is, you're on the vibrato channel. 2 inputs, bright, volume, treble, middle, bass, reverb, speed, intensity, and that's it. And let's look at a few more pictures here. So they come with foot pedal, power cord, a cable for the foot pedal, and the back. So let's look at the back. You got a power switch here, on, off, and a mute. You can mute the speakers but keep the tubes, fake tubes running. There are no tubes in here, but sort of, instantly just flip it on, ready to go. The attenuator, if you don't know what an attenuator is, basically tube amps sound best when you crank them and they start getting really just meaty and they growl a little bit when you get past the point of the clean headroom and you get into this breakup area. But they get really, really, really loud. And I played a Fender Deluxe Reverb, ToneMaster Reverb here, a ToneMaster Deluxe. I played it in my house and I was on like volume 2 or whatever, and the thing was loud and I couldn't get the breakup. And you got these attenuators, and 1 watt, 5 watts. I'm gonna see if there's a better picture here. Let's see, let's try this one. There you go. 1 watt, 5 watts, 12 watts, 22, 40, and full 85 watts. This is for we're in the Fender Twin. And so you can basically crank the amp, turn down the wattage, and it controls the power. So long story short is you get the tone of a loud amp without the volume of a loud amp right there. And then you got this balanced line out, a cab sim 1 and 2. So you can run a line out here to the board at an event, at a venue or stage or whatever, PA system, and you can choose from a couple options right there. So I'm not going to go mega geeky into those, but you got the Twin here. It's got the stand right there. Great looking amplifier. I've heard some people say they take pliers and they pull that off because they want people to think that they have a regular Twin amp. Me, I'm like, big deal. Call it a ToneMaster. Just like embrace it right there. Great looking amplifier. And let me scroll down here. We're on the Twin. I'm going to go through the others quicker, but I thought I'd spend a little bit of time looking at all that attenuation option and stuff here on the first one. So we got this thing from Fender right here. Let's see what happens when I click play on this. We'll give it a shot.
Hi, Shane from Fender here with my friends at Sweetwater to tell you about the brand new ToneMaster amplifiers. Twin Reverb or Deluxe Reverb. Everybody loves these amps, whether you play country, blues, rock, jazz, whatever. Surf's up. Turn up your...
Really nice. So he's got a emulated spring reverb that sounds pretty drippy, which I like. Let's see if he gets into some harder stuff. Sweet. I'm not going to watch all these videos because it would take too long, but he probably goes through all the different features, the attenuation and stuff like that. Play one more clip.
So the 2 impulse responses that we've pick attack maybe when you turn it up around 4 or 5.
Cool. All right. So there's a description of all the stuff. So this one has Jensen, N12K, neodymium speakers. I really don't understand what that means, but I know Jensen is a killer brand. So some speaker, I would say geeks, but you probably just need to be a basic amplifier fan to know the differences between all the speakers. I'm not that good on that. I just know that you got Celestion, you got Jensen, and you got 4 or 5 other ones for Fender amps, and they're pretty much, as long as they got those, they're good. So I'm not going to spend much time on all these specs right here, but you got, seeing what else jumps out at me. A little description of all those different things we were just talking about. But the big deal is the height, width, and depth should be basically exactly like a Fender Twin. But the big one is 33 pounds. I think a real Fender Twin, y'all help me, 50, 60 pounds. And everybody goes, man, I had one of those forever. And what's cool about these amps is from the very beginning, almost everybody says this thing just rocks. Incredible. You know, if I go to 99 reviews here, these Tone Masters have been like widely across the board received as just the best thing Fender's done in a long time. No buyer's remorse. Great amp. Let me go to the next page. Let's see what we got here. Historic tone, lightweight. I waited 60 years for this tone. A twin with benefits. Amp, awesome bedroom amp. I'm converted. So a lot of people that were like, you know, quote, tube snobs have said, all right, I'm in. I'm going all in. So that is the Fender Twin for $1249. So that was the first one right there. All right, so let's go back here. The next one, actually, I think at the same time, if I'm correct, they came out with the Deluxe. So the Deluxe right here is the Deluxe Reverb. Very similar. I'm not going to spend as much time going through all the specs. This one is a slightly smaller amp in, I think, every way in terms of width and height and depth. But, you know, if you know a Deluxe amplifier, this is it. This is really sweet. And you've got a normal channel, a vibrato channel. There is all the same kind of stuff. The attenuation is a little bit different. If you look here, it's 0.2, 0.5. So this one you go down to 0.2. I played this thing at a 0.2 and it was still pretty loud. It's amazing. I can't imagine playing at full wattage unless you're like outside or at a venue where just the whole place is just really loud and rocking. But you can see here, it looks basically just like the other one as far as the Twin. I mean, very similar to the Twin, of course, but it's because the Deluxe looked like the Twin, except for some various aspects. So just slightly smaller, doesn't have those little metal rods down the side. And yeah, this one's 23 pounds, so 10 pounds lighter than the Twin. Isn't that cool? Same stuff. There's a Jensen, neodymium. Now I'm becoming a pro in speaker stuff. The emulated output. I'll read that. One of Tone Master's more modern features is its XLR balanced output, which is useful for creating a silent stage or recording sets without a mic. 2 onboard cab IRs, impulse responses, give you a direct feed out to a soundboard. Alternatively, a flat response option provides seamless integration with your existing IRs. So really sweet. And if you come down here to the specs here, this one is considerably smaller, 17, 24, and 9 in terms of that, and 23 pounds right there. Lightweight solid pine. I believe they all have solid pine bodies, so none of that, pieced together particle board. Really, if you have a Deluxe, this is the one you want. And look, best amp I ever played, amazing amp, fantastic recreation, future of amps. This one's got 100 reviews, including a bunch of pics from people that have them in their bedroom. So look, this dude's got it above his Blues Junior Tweed right there, playing it with a Les Paul. What's the next one got? This one's got 2 of them stacked on top of each other. Is that an original down there underneath the Tone Master? And then dude's playing with a Telecaster, another one. I mean, people love these. People love them. It's really great. All right. Let's go. We're going to skip the guitar workstation, the multi-effects, and I'm going to go next up in order. A lot of people were saying, please do the Princeton. Please do the Princeton. It's one of the most classic amplifiers of all time. You've heard it on a million albums and songs, and it's smaller, but they didn't. Fender released the Tone Master Super Reverb. Now, before I click it, I just realized the Twin was $1249 US. This is in January of 2025. That I'm recording this. The Deluxe was $1049, so a little over $1,000 US, and the Super Reverb is $1349. So it's the most expensive so far that we've looked at. Let's check it out. And here we go. Taller. It's got 4x10. So this is a 45 watt, and it's got 4 10-inch speakers. So let me just hop into the look and feel. It's basically like a tall Twin reverb, isn't it? For the most part. There's the 4 speakers, and they're Jensen special design. We'll read about that in a second. Same kind of controls on the back, and the attenuation right there. This one goes down to 1/2 watt. So the attenuation is different on all of these. Very interesting. But the rest of it looks very similar. It's got a stand of its own, so if you want to lean it back on the stage, right there. All right, let me come down here. Longer, so this came out a couple years later, so the video and all that are a little bit different. I'll hit play on this and surf around the page a little bit.
And an easily driven mid-powered 45 watts. The Tone Master Super Reverb is a perfect replication of that legendary tube amplifier, with modern conveniences for today's most
Really sweet, really sweet. And as you saw, as I was surfing around there, 36 pounds, is that what I saw? So definitely heavier than the, I guess is the heaviest of all of them, right? For $13.49. It also has 23 reviews, so this one's less popular than all the other ones. If you remember, the Deluxe had, let me see here, 100 reviews, 5 stars, and the Twin had, guess I'd have to go back, whatever. Let me go back one. The Twin had 99, so it looks like the Twin and the Deluxe are a little more highly reviewed, which means people are buying more of them right there. Doesn't mean it's a bad amp, it just means less people want that big sucker right there. All right, before I go to the last two, check these out. These are the blonde versions of the Twin and then the Deluxe. So again, the Deluxe over here costs $10.49. It costs $10.99 here. So for 50 more bucks, you get that, and for 50 more bucks, you get the Twin compared to $12.49 for the Twin right there. And if I were to click on this dude right here, let's see if it has a different speaker, because obviously the color is different. I guess you're paying more for that. But let me see if it has a different speaker. Yep, Celestion G12 Neo Creamback. A pair of hand-picked speakers give the Tone Master stage-filling punch and vocal mid-range, blah, blah, blah. Beloved by Eric Clapton and Eddie Van Halen, which with much higher handling. I'm not sure what higher handling is. What do y'all think? Anyway, so you got Celestion speakers and a tone, oops, didn't mean to do that, and a cream color right there for another 50 bucks on that. All right. Let me go back here. Hopefully I didn't lose my filter. Yep, it stayed true, which is great. Okay, so then Fender came out with, I think 2 years ago, maybe 2023, the Fender Princeton. And this is the one that I'm going to get because I don't need something giant. And this has 28 reviews, but I think it's going to pass the others. It just hasn't been out for another 2 years. Maybe it won't pass the Twin or the Deluxe, but if you're unfamiliar with this, it's just the original is a small classic killer tube amp, and you've got volume, treble, bass, there's no middle, and you have reverb, I think these all have spring reverb, and then speed and intensity is your vibrato. And so this one comes with a carrying case, or it's not a carrying case, a case amp cover, sorry, like a dust cover, or if you're traveling to help keep it from getting banged up a little bit, but not that much. And then same stuff on the back, but the attenuation here goes down to 0.3. Is that what I see? 0.3. And the full is only 12 watts. So this thing is just smaller, lighter. It's going to be plenty loud. I think I've seen a lot of people say it's really loud, but it's not like the loudest thing ever. And very excuse me, very compact and very sweet here. If I come down here, the lightest Princeton you've ever seen. I'm not going to play another video in this video right here, but this one just looks great. Great for home bedroom use, or at the your house or outside or whatever, or small gigs. It'd probably be good for a medium gig if you mic'd it up. And again, you got that cabinet output, so you could probably just run this out to the stage, to the sound board. It's got a Jensen C10R. So a little bit different than some of the others we saw, but it's a real Jensen. I think it's supposed to be the one that was from, so see that right there? It looks like that's from the 60s. So should be very, very consistent. And this one, of all of them, it is 16 by 18 by 8 and 19.9 pounds. And if you, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this that quickly. Let me try this. I'm going to take over that page, and I'm going to go Sweetwater. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to compare it to the Blues Junior in terms of weight, because I have a Blues Junior right now. Blues Junior amplifier. And let's go to the classic Blues Junior. And its weight is, it's 16 by 18, 9.81, and 31 pounds. So if you own a Blues Junior and you get yourself a Princeton, it's 16 by 18, a little bit, what is that width? A little bit wider than the Blues Junior, and a little bit less tall, a full inch and a half less, no, deep. Sorry, it's deep. The height is 16, so it's a teeny bit wider, same height, and the depth, which you probably won't notice, is like, on the Blues Junior, it's bigger. But the Blues Junior is 31 pounds. This is the Blues Junior I'm looking at here. And the Princeton is 19.9 pounds. So you're getting 11 pounds lighter by going with the Princeton. And check out these ratings right here. Fantastic gigging amp, 6 dials to heaven. The solution I've been looking for, very close to the 2 version. I mean, other people are like, I can't tell the difference. I mean, you really got to be super... I don't know. You probably have to have them side by side. If you watch the Andertons video where they compare them, they're like, I can try to tell, but anyway. All right, so that's the Tone Master Princeton Reverb. All right, if we want to check out the last one, remember all these right here. The last one is the new one they just came out with. This is something a lot of people were waiting on. It's another big one. It's $1,500, and it's the 59 Bassman. And this was just one of Fender's original amps way back when, and they needed all the volume they could get in the 50s to keep up with the stage, with big bands and early rock and roll bands. And I can picture, I don't know, Eddie Cochran and Buddy Holly and somebody trying to crank this dude up. And before PA systems, it had to power across a whole room. So picture being in the front row of one of these stadium shows. Sorry, not, like a club or a medium-sized venue, and you're in the front row and your ears are just gone. But this one, clearly, unlike all the others, it has the really nice vintage look here. It's really sweet. Check it out. I'll come back to some of the pictures in a second, but you got the vintage tweed, and the placement of all of the knobs and everything was just slightly different up there on the top. Let me go back in and just look at a few of those right there. So on the top, you've got off and mute up there instead of on the back. You got a reverb on the left, presence, middle bass treble. So you got the 3-band EQ plus presence, volume bright and volume normal. I've never had a Bassman, so I'm not sure exactly how those interact together and whether they work like a volume and a drive at all, or whether they're independent. You got two different, maybe you can plug 2 or 3 guitars in this. I haven't had a Bassman, so I am not that knowledgeable on this, but it has 4 10-inch speakers. And then the back, if you look real closely here, the attenuation is there. I can't tell what that goes down to. We'll see in a second. It's got the cab sim, all this. It's basically got everything. Oh, look at this one. This one has USB in. What would that be for? Firmware update? Effects, send and return. I don't remember seeing that on any of the others, right? So this one is a little bit new, a little bit different. Let me see what I can read about those. Convolution, spring reverb, 5-position power scaling switch. Yep. Tweed, Tone Master. Wind down your watts. Let's see if it tells me here. It'll tell me here in a second of what it goes to. Yeah, down to 0.5 watts. So you can get down to 0.5, but I bet that's still going to be crazy loud. And lacquered tweed right there. Yep, USB-C port for easy firmware updates. So it looks like you can do firmware. That's interesting. I don't remember seeing it on the others. Let me just hop over here to the Princeton, for example, and see if the firmware was there. Yep, no USB. So if you get that one, maybe you're locked in. I don't think I saw USB at all. In fact, let me just do a search. USB. Oh goodness, look at that. USB micro B firmware. Well, that's killer. That's awesome. I just don't know where it is. So somewhere in here, am I missing it? I'm not seeing it on any of that. If anybody has this amp, let me know where the USB firmware is. Maybe it's down here inside, or it's maybe under the hood right here. Maybe you have to take that layer off right there. Well, that's cool. All right, so back to the Bassman. 22 and 23 and 10 and 32. So that is actually not that bad, is it, comparatively? Wasn't the Twin our highest? If I come way down to the Twin, this one's 33 pounds, 20, 26, 10, and 33. And then the Deluxe was even lighter. If I come way down here, 23 pounds. We know the Princeton. The Super Reverb was, doing a little comparison, 36. So the Super Reverb is the heaviest, and the Bassman is 32. So very interesting. I would have thought the Bassman would be maybe the biggest and heaviest. And here you go. Best new amp, amazing sound, great unit, best sounding amp I've ever plugged into, and da-da-da. This guy says it just doesn't have the same warmth or depth to my ear. Well, maybe he's right, or maybe he's mistaken. So that's it. All right, there you go. The Bassman, the Princeton Reverb, the Super Reverb, the Deluxe, and the Twin, part of the Tone Master series. If you're shopping for one of these, from what I hear, you pretty much can't go wrong. I mean, unless you get a bad unit, or you're not, you really just somehow have the incredible ear that can discern perfectly between a real tube amplifier and these. Otherwise, you can't go wrong. And your cheapest option is that Princeton Reverb for $949 US. You can probably get 10% off from one of these stores like Sweetwater if you call and ask, and you get a nice deal. All right, so that is your Fender Tone Master buying guide. I'm Steve. Hit like, hit subscribe, share, and I'll catch you next time as we go shopping for, how about some Gibson acoustics? Catch you next time. See ya.